everybody, it's Sharon here. Welcome back to my channel for those who are returning, and welcome to any new subscribers that may be visiting for the first time. So I'd like to continue with my cover making today. As you remember, in our video yesterday we finished off our faux patchwork quilt cover and I just love it. I love everything about it. I have been in love with the way this cover has been turning out for a good couple of years now, and I wasn't really sure how to finish it, and oh my gosh, I'm so excited about it. It's crazy. It's crazy how excited I am. Lots of messy stitching because my sewing machine, well, I don't know if it was the sewing machine or user error. I've mentioned before I'm not a sewer, but I really love it. So if you're interested in having a look and seeing how I created that, I will link the video in the description below, but it was the last video that I did. So my next journal cover, I wanted to play with an envelope. So I have an A4 envelope here and I have an opening at one end, and I've actually opened up the bottom here. Now, I did this quite a while ago when I was watching one of Artie May's, Andrea Allen from Artie May's. I was watching one of her videos and I opened up the envelope the way that she had it, and then I never got back to it. So I'm going to have a play with something that I saw her do, or in a similar fashion. I don't know if it's exactly the same. It was a little while back that I watched her video. I also have here, sorry, I'm just opening it. I have this vintage roll of wallpaper. Now I purchased this from, it was a buy swap sell site in my area, I believe, and it is a huge roll. As you can see, there is a lot of wallpaper on this roll, and I fell in love with the pattern. So very neutral, which I love. So I wanted to have a play and see if I can create another journal cover. So this one would be for probably a single signature, I'm thinking. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the plastic off of. I was a little bit sad to take the plastic off because it's kept it safe and clean for so many years, but I can't use it without it coming off. Wowzers, for an itty bitty piece of plastic, that took some getting off. Now, I just have, it has a little piece of paper wrapped around it, and you know what we're like. I looked at that and went, oh, some aged paper, how fun. So that may go into my collaging papers. Take that yucky tape off. Oops. Stuck to my fingers. Okay, so has some yellowing on it, which is really pretty. Okay, my wallpaper. Now I'm thinking the width, I can actually go that way. And I'm going to leave myself a little bit of overhang on either side. So for us at the top and the bottom, I'm talking. Obviously there's already extra at the ends. Just need to move my glue out of the way. I need to stop the wallpaper from rolling in on itself. So the bone folder comes in very handy for that. Okay, this is a really lovely thick wallpaper. So it will add a really good strength to my envelope. Okay, Now I'm thinking I would like to I'm going to cover the flap as well. I'm thinking about turning that into a pocket. So I think I might cover that with the wallpaper and possibly bring it back down on itself. Don't know how that will work, but so I'm just wondering. I won't want to cut off. Fun little scrap to use inside the journal. There may be more. Okay, so I think I'm pretty happy with that. I do need to anchor my wallpaper down a little bit to stop it from curling while I'm working. So I'm going to pull out my glues and fabric stoppers. That one's a little bit empty. Just something with a little bit of weight to hold it in place. I really want to use my fabric glue, but I need it. I have quick dry there and perhaps my scissors there. Okay, it gives me some working space, and I'm going to actually, first of all, I'm going to decide what I want to do at this end. I can leave it open at this end as well and have a pocket, but I don't think I want to do that for the cover. So I think I will just add some glue. I might use my art glitter glue because it won't be as wet. And I probably don't need to seal this, but I feel like it will add a little bit of stability if I do. Just popping the pin back in. There's glue on there. Okay, so that end is nice and closed. Just going to burnish that a little bit more. And I may even just, again, probably don't need to do this, but I can't spin my arm around the way I'd like to because one of the corners of the wallpaper is being held down by my fabric stopper, which is right next to my hand in case you can't see it. Look, I just want to swing my arm this way, but I know I can't. Okay, so, oh, and I'm losing my glues. I'm just going to completely cover my envelope in fabric glue. Getting as close to the edge as possible. And if you notice, I haven't done the flap yet. I did think about including that in this round of gluing, and I've decided to wait and do it separately. No particular reason, just because I thought it would be easier. Excuse me. Okay, so just pressing that into place, and I'm going to leave that sit for a moment while I do this flap. Again, I want to get as close to the edge as I possibly can, and apparently that's easier if I'm not talking. Okay. And I did have a little bit come out, so I'm just going to clean that up. Okay, and I'm now going to burnish the front while that flap sits for a little bit with the glue. Kind of lost my corner stopper. And just taking up some excess where I can. Probably don't need to, but okay, so at this end what I'd like to do is hopefully turn it around without destroying too many things in my room. I've got things everywhere. Okay. Do have these little balls of glue that I'd like to remove, or they're going to show through in the texture of the wallpaper, which I don't really want. Okay, and actually if I turn it this way, I just want to crease my wallpaper where it's going to fold. Just checking it's pretty good where it is, and I'm pretty happy with that. I really love the colours, the neutral tones of this wallpaper. It's just so pretty. Okay, so as you can see, I've cut my wallpaper down to come past the opening in the envelope. And it doesn't really matter because this will be folded over and you won't actually see it, but I felt like it would add a really nice stability to my pocket. In actual fact, I'm thinking I'd like to cut off a little bit more. Okay, now I'm just thinking, that is the very slightest of angles that I've cut that at, in line with so basically in line with this fold here, and I've just tapered it very, very slightly. And then wondering how I want to go about this. What I might do actually is if I fold here, I'm going to come in. I don't want to lose the shape of the flap, but I'd like to cover it. So I'm just trying to figure out how I can best achieve that. Because I'm going to have 2 layers of wallpaper, I'm not going to be able to see it once I cover this flap with the wallpaper. So I might get my finer scissors. Okay. Again, fun little scraps that I can use. Put those to the side. Okay, so that's taken care of that. And then so I'm just looking to cut inside the pocket or envelope. I don't think I'm quite over far enough. Oh, it might be all right actually. Basically, I'm holding the tip of my scissors roughly at the tip of the fold here to get my distance. Okay, and I'm going to taper this because I'm going to cut this off anyway. Okay, so the plan is that that will be able to sit inside there. I would like to take a little more off this edge. Just making sure I'm not cutting any layers underneath. But I shouldn't be. Sorry if you can't see. Okay. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now this is going to get tricky to fold it back in on itself. And I could just attach it to the peel and seal, but I do want to add some extra glue, so I want to make sure it's stuck down really, really well. Oh, wrong glue. Both would have worked fine. One is a fabric glue, which is the one I'm using. The other is a quick dry, and I was actually using the quick dry all the time, but suddenly I was unable to buy more, so I turned to the fabric glue. Personally, I feel like they're the same glue in different packaging. I'm not really sure what the difference is, but they both work really well for making journals. So, and they're a Helmar brand, and I just buy them from my local Spotlight. So that's what I'm using for this project. Okay, so that's the glue there. Now I'm going to tread carefully. Just going to see if I can tuck in my corners. Yep. And then I have glue between my fingers because my fingers touched the glue. Okay. I'm just burnishing that down. And then if I turn it over, I can see the outline of my flap because I cut it away before I did the opposite side. So I can follow that line. I'm going to wait for a moment, I think, because that glue is quite tacky still. Oh my gosh, that's pretty. Okay, the other thing when you're doing this, I want my flap, and I should have mentioned this sooner, sorry. I want my flap at the back of my cover. I've decided to put it at the back of the journal rather than the front. So if you have a directional wallpaper, just be really aware of that when you're covering it, that you have it the orientation that you would like it. This is a non-directional wallpaper, so it doesn't matter which way around I have it. Okay, and so I don't think I need quite as much here as I have, so I'm going to cut myself another little strip off because it's just going to add bulk that I don't necessarily want, and that's a fun size strip again too. It's almost the same as this one. Fun size strip to be able to use in embellishments and layering and things. And it kind of connects the inside to the outside then. Okay, so I'm just going to taper my corners. And I'm going to fold these to make sure. Okay, that's not quite cut to where I need it to be, so just pressing that down with my bone folder. Now it's easier if I can see where the edge of the, if you can see that it started to fold over the envelope as well as the wallpaper, so it's easier if I can see the edge when I'm folding it or getting it to start folding, so that I don't crease over that envelope. I had folded this envelope in half, basically because I was checking the size. I probably wouldn't normally fold it in half before I carry out this process, just so that you know. Oops, and I want it this way. And I'm just running my finger along the edge of the envelope, pressing towards myself to get that to crease where I want it to crease. I do have a little bit of bulk here, so I'm just going to cut that away. It's just a tiny piece, but if I take care of it now, if I leave that, there is a chance that it would start lifting once it's glued down. That's why I want to remove it. That's much better. Okay, so I'm ready to remove these. Just following the curve of the flap. Just going to taper that. And I have a tile in front of me with some watercolor paints on that I've been using, and trying really hard not to mess with that. Basically, either I'm worried about putting my cover into the paint and having it come off onto the cover, but I'm also worried I'm going to knock it off the table. Okay. Perfect. Oops, little strays. Okay, so I'm not going to fold that yet. I think I will glue these down. You see me removing all these little pieces. I try and get them out of the way, partly because sometimes they have a tendency to flip up and end up in your glue, and you either have to fish them out or you don't see them, and they end up creating texture under whatever you're gluing down. And it's incredible how the tiniest piece of fluff can create that bumpy texture under something that's meant to be flat. It's really, really noticeable. So a good coverage of glue, and I may add just a tad. Across there. I am noticing I need to, clean up that glue, which isn't what I was going to say. I do need to taper off this little piece here. And just by folding those pieces over, that has really strengthened that edge. I could have chosen not to. I could have chosen to cut all the way around it, add my backing paper or fabric or whatever I wanted to use, and I could have sewn around it, but I just find that folding that up and adhering it just makes that much more sturdy. Oops. These finer scissors. Okay, next. This is so pretty. And then in my mind I'm like, it's a shame I won't see the inside of it, but never mind. It will add a really good stability to the pocket as well that we're creating by having that doubled over. Again, you don't necessarily need to do that, but it strengthens the fold. I'll explain in a moment. Sorry, I want to point, but I can't. No, Sharon, don't do that yet. Nope, got a little bit carried away with my glue. I thought I had. I'm going to wipe that away a little bit. Just trying to remove a little of the excess glue. Okay, and then this side, yep. I'm like, note to self, tapered edges, be careful where you place the glue. Okay. Haven't decided what liner I would like for this yet. I'm toying between fabric because I think that could be quite pretty and kind of fun, or printed paper of some description, but I feel like a print will take away from this wallpaper. So I'm not going to lie, I'm actually steering towards calico. You know, it's my favorite, and I feel like I'll be cheating myself if I don't add a little bit. And I just think the wallpaper with the calico would be so pretty. Okay, love that. And then this pocket, will fold back over like that. Oh my gosh, that is so pretty. I love it. I need to allow this drying time though before I start folding it up too much. Okay, so let's get the fabric and see how that looks. Okay, so I have my big roll or bundle of calico, and I just need to work out roughly where to tear. Okay, I've gone a little bit wider. You can't actually see. It's probably 1/8 to 1/2 an inch wider than my cover. And the reason I haven't unfolded this fabric is because I don't have the space right now. So this is what I do. I work very awkwardly sometimes to try and make it work. Okay, so I'm going to stop it there. That's more than enough. So I can fold this back up. I really need more room. I'm not greedy. I'd really like to get or try and fit another table in there, even if it was a smallish table like the one I have here, which is just a fold out table. Now that wasn't straight, so this isn't quite wide enough at this end, which is unfortunate, but that happens. So we'll try that again. Yes, I'd like to get another desk and keep it empty for things like cutting fabric, so I can actually spread my fabric out. I had actually planned on using one of my other tables in here for that purpose, but it's ended up with technology. So it's ended up with my my Cricut and my printer and things like that. So there isn't enough room in the inn, I'm afraid. Okay, let me see. Where? I need to make it a little bit wider in case it's crooked as well. And I'm going to guesstimate the size very generously, of course, and the excess will end up in my scraps, and I'm good with that because I use it all the time. I hate to think of how this piece of calico has torn, because I always tear off very random areas. And I'm quite sure if I ever open it out, it's going to look like a really odd puzzle shape or something. I don't know. Okay. Now I'm thinking, always thinking, I want to pull a thread. Now I'm doing this because I am thinking I would like to fray. Okay, so that's my torn edge. I would like to fray the outside, and I wanted to make sure that that edge would fray well. So this edge looks to me like it's not straight. So I'm going to do the same thing. Oh, and it came away in one piece, so it's a straight edge as well. Okay. It just doesn't look straight, but obviously that's in line with the fabric. So if I were to tuck that over even just a fraction, I probably want a little bit more than that. I'm doing this very awkwardly, guys. Going to say about there. That's where my scissors went. And it really probably wasn't quite enough. Never mind. I really love that calico with the wallpaper, can I just say? I know you find that surprising. So I'm trying to make sure I have enough room to fray the fabric once it's adhered. You can see how they're just coming off in big long strips, which is what I wanted. So okay, so I'm just going to glue this down, I think, and then I will see if I can, do I want to see if I can tuck that in now? Perhaps I do. Okay, so what I'm thinking is if I taper up to make sure I'm on track, just going to do that. Probably would help if I have the corners straight though. I'm really hoping I'm in camera here. My workspace is all over the place at the moment, I feel like. Okay, so that gives me an edge to fold in. I need to make sure my fabric is the right way around, and it is. So I've got the back of the fabric, or the flatter side of the fabric, facing me right now, so that the opposite side is what will show when I fold it over. Now I need to remember I'm going to paper clip this in, I think, because I want to make sure that when I fold it over it's going to fold flat, or straight rather. So when I fold that over, not bad. Oh, I'm just going to go for gold. I can only mess it up, right? Oops, I slipped. I don't want to do that. I do feel like I need to push it in a little bit more because of my tapered edge. Ever been nervous about doing something before? Okay. Oh, I just haven't had another thought if I do this of how I can use my cover, which is, I don't know if it would work, but it's an interesting thought. Okay, did you see that? I just didn't even think, I just started gluing. Okay, so, oh, that's gone further than I realized. Just checking to see if I need any excess glue in here. That little glue goober worked in my favour. Now he's hoping it's straight. Not too bad. Okay, and so get to gluing on here. So again, I'm using my fabric glue. Am I in camera? Oh yes. I don't know why I was nervous about that, but I really was. Trying to make sure I'm good and close to the edge. Oops. I've gotten so close to the edge I had nowhere I could hold the paper still. Oh, and I'm not holding it still very well, obviously. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that for 1 second, maybe 2 or 3, to become a little bit tacky. And oops, sliding. Oh, I'm not doing this very well, guys, sorry. And that's what I was kind of looking for. So burnishing it really well, going around those edges. I'm thinking I may leave it to dry so I can finish fraying my edges now too. Pretty. So I think I might cut. It's pulled a little differently so it's not sitting flat. That didn't make any sense. It's pulled unevenly. So it looks like there's a curve, but if you can see how easy that is fraying because I've checked my straight lines before. Before I glued everything down. Oh my gosh, that is so pretty. I love it. I'm wondering if I can fray just a fraction more. Okay. Yep, that's better. Now I haven't ended up with quite as much fraying at the bottom, and that's probably a good thing because that's where it's going to sit and it's going to be pulled in and out of bookshelves and things like that. I may end up going around it with a little fray stopper, but I'm actually thinking I might I'm wondering if I want to sew around it. It would add extra stability to hold the fabric in place, which, I mean, it seems good and adhered. Oh my gosh, that's so pretty. I was actually thinking that could be a fold over too, but I think I prefer the idea of the pocket, and I may actually sew that pocket in place because I don't know if the glue will be enough to hold it down. Just looking, I have a little bit of gathering there from where that's folding. That's better. Little piece does want to come out. I just don't know. Oh no, that's not too bad. It is getting closer to the inside of the journal by pulling these extra threads, but I'm just looking at it and I'm thinking it still has that frayed look, which kind of, I need my pokey tool, kind of hides the fact that the journal cover is directly underneath it. I'll bring it closer and I'll show you what I mean. So as you can see the actual journal cover, so it's not sitting even, but by bringing it down that little bit further, it's evened up the top of this, and from the outside you won't know. So now my question is, to sew or not to sew? I will add some fray stopper around the edges of this fabric, I think, just to try and stop it from fraying anymore. I can't actually adhere or attempt to secure my flap if I'm going to sew around it, so I'm not going to do that just yet. I will stop for a bit and have a think. Just wondering if I want to fray that a little bit more. Maybe I do. Okay, I don't think he wants to come away, so all I do when that happens is just trim it to the same length, and then once it's sitting in there, you don't notice. Yeah, so that's evened up that a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for helping me create that journal cover. I really, really love it. And I look forward to using it in a future project. So I look forward to seeing you all soon, everybody. Please don't forget to hit like, give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed what you've seen. Subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification and select all so that you don't miss any future videos. And always feel free to comment. I love to hear from you. I'll see you soon, everybody. Happy crafting. Bye for now.